I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, September the 25th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a straight shooting telithromycin injection. To see how Macrocin stacks up against Pioneer products, see the results of a 4,600 head trial by going to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards. Joplin's going to have a more moderate offering for them this Monday here for the regular feeder cattle auction, expecting around 6,500 head of cattle, which is a monster run for anybody else, but a pretty moderate or average run for them. Guys, don't forget, you can join in their commingling program. It doesn't cost you any more. You just have to have the cattle in there Sunday afternoon for the Monday auction. Get them in there and they will group your smaller bunches of cattle with light cattle, put them in larger bunches. They sell at high time, guys. They sell about 11 o'clock on Monday morning, which is right when everybody's in the market there. They sell in those bigger bunches and they sell really well. It doesn't cost you any more to have them in there rather than selling them, 1, 2, 3 at a time. At the very beginning or the very end of the sale or in the late stages of it. So don't forget that. That is a tool that Joplin has established for you, and take advantage of it. Cattle on feed was notched on Friday. Come out at 2 o'clock Central on Friday, and the average of the analyst's guess could hardly be any more right on with what it was. So what is that? Is that neutral? It should be neutral. I would think absolutely neutral. Some people might derive it as a little on the bearish side because we should be getting more aggressive, because we know we're running into really tight supplies. Well, don't forget these analysts are people too, and they know what's going on, and they're aggressive in their guesses. And to me, whenever we reach those aggressive guesses they have, especially on the light side of placements, that means that it should be at least neutral or maybe even a little bit bullish. But in my opinion, the board should act like nothing ever happened, which is sometimes it's pretty volatile even when it is acting like nothing ever happened. But you can't get any closer than what they got to guessing what the cattle on feed report was, and it should be as easy of a impact whenever they pull that curtain back and show us that information every month as we could possibly get. But look at your cattle on feed report that come out on Friday. The inventories on feed September the 1st came out at 97.8% of a year ago. The average of the analyst guess was 97.8. Can't get any closer than that, guys. You look at your inventories by your big states. Iowa and Kansas cattle on feed inventories were slightly larger than a year ago. Nebraska, Texas, and Colorado were slightly under. Colorado only 92% of what they had on feed a year ago. Of course, they don't have any price discovery in Colorado, and they can't even report it when they do because they don't have enough players. So maybe that's part of the reason people are getting out of it in Colorado. But placements came in at 94.9. Average of the analyst guess was 94.8. Perfect. That's as good as you can get right there. Every single weight group of placements, every 100-pound weight group from 600 or under 6 all the way to 1,000 pounds and over was lower than it was a year ago. So it's significantly lower everywhere in your placements. Marketings were also very low though. Your packers have really pulled back on their harvest or on production, and just that goes right with saying that your marketings are going to be a lot lower. Your cattle on feed report marketings come out at 94.0% of a year ago. Average of the analyst guess was 94.4. I don't think that 0.4% is going to be a big deal on there. But congratulations to those analysts that put their guesses out on what that cattle on feed report is going to be, because they did an excellent job, and it took all of them, because they take the highs and lows, they average them all together and do that. But we had pretty good movement on our fat cattle last week, you know, for the way we are. I know we don't trade very many cattle. We have zero price discovery in a lot of places, but we did see some negotiated trade. It got fairly active on Thursday evening or Thursday afternoon late after the 2 o'clock deadline to turn that information in. We didn't know how active it got, but they traded several cattle on Thursday afternoon and then a little bit more cleanup on Friday. And your market was higher, not so much as you could judge it in the northern plains, but the southern plains got higher again for the second straight week in a row. Why is that? Because if they don't get some more price on the southern plains, they're going to start delivering cattle here early in October whenever things start happening. But I think we'll get close enough, and then likely your October live cattle futures will back up a little bit, and then they won't have to worry about any deliveries. And CME hates delivery. I'll tell you what, they don't want to pay for anything, and that does cost them a little bit there. But calves are still cheap, guys. They look high, but if you run the numbers on them, the calves are still cheap. I saw some calves in a northern Missouri barn that sold. They only weighed 300 pounds, and this is a high quality barn there. Only weighed 300 pounds and bring just under $3 a pound. That's too cheap, guys. Don't let those get away, because they won't be available down the road. When everybody gets done harvesting, they will swap those up, and you won't be able to buy them. But get your calves while they're available, because more demand is coming as soon as they get those combines parked and power washed off. Let's talk about your board on for last week. October live cattle futures. Monday was down 60. Tuesday was down 65. Wednesday was up $1.10. Thursday down $1.80. And Friday up $2.10. If you didn't see that on Friday, live cattle futures up big. Your October contract ended the week at 187.07. That was up just 15 cents for the week. December ended the week at 191.35, down 47 cents for the week, because that seems like a long ways off. They can do what they want to with it. Talk about feeder cattle futures on Chicago Mercantile Exchange. September contract. Monday down big. Remember, we thought the world was falling. Monday was down $3.12. Tuesday down 75 cents. Wednesday was back up 67. Thursday down 90. Friday up 82 cents. And your September contract on feeder cattle ended the week at 254.10, down 327 for the week. But that's not really a big deal, because it's still, after falling $3.27 for the week and your index levels holding steady, it's still trading at a premium to what your cash feeders are bringing. So it's not a big deal that it backed up. Now your October contracts ended the week at 259.15. They were down $5.32. Why they are going down and falling out of bed, I have no idea. I would say the fat cattle market has a little more confidence than it did a week ago. And your grains haven't done anything, and the evidence keeps coming in that we're going to have a great harvest. So I'm not sure why that was down so much on your back months on feeder cattle futures. But talking about grains, your corn, Chicago Board of Trade for December new crop ended the week at 477.25, up just 1 cent for the week. Beans for November new crop ended the week at 1296.25, down 44 cents. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December ended the week down 35.25 cents a bushel for the week, ending at 711.25. Talk about your fat cattle trade that happened up through Thursday of last week. Your fat steers and heifers in your 5-area feeding region negotiated up through Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Sold from 182 to 187. That was $1 to $2 higher on the price spread. Your weighted average on live steers 184.54, up 50 cents. So that's pretty good. Your dress trade 288 to 293, steady to $2 higher, and then that was pretty good. And your weighted average on dress steers was 291.79, down 5 cents a hundred on that, which is basically just steady, but we didn't gain any ground really on our dress trade. Now, realistically, Iowa and Nebraska, they sold cattle, basically at 185 live and 292 dressed. That was mostly steady to firm. Now the Southern Plains, they sold cattle at 183, steady to $1 higher. So that was pretty significant, and we're closing that gap on the premium that the North is getting to the Southern cattle. But Friday in Iowa, they sold 2,200, 25,100 for the week. On Friday, your sales in all your regions were well up into the price range. So we finished strong. 185 to 186 in Iowa, 291 dressed on one deal. Nebraska sold 2,000 on Friday, 24,000 for the week. 184 to 185 live, 292 to 293 dressed. Kansas sold just 400 on Friday, 8,700 for the week. 183 to 183 and a half in Kansas on Friday. Texas sold 500 on Friday and 5,000 for the week. All the cattle in Texas brought 183. But the Fed Cattle Exchange did quote some beef on dairy cattle that sold on the bid on the grid on Friday at 184 for a base price. So that would be pretty impressive there, guys. And did have active bidding from both majors and regionals. Talk about your box beef cutout values. They were down for the week. I'll tell you what, these packers are struggling to get that deal going again. But your weighted average on all of last week's choice cut sales, 302.79, down 476. And at the end of the week, Friday afternoon, we weren't very far from that, up about $0.50 from that at 303.33. So lost some ground on your box beef cutouts. If packers could get that going again a little bit, it would lend some more confidence, but not sure if they can't get it going or they're just not showing it to us. Your selects, your weighted average on all of last week's trade, 280.66, down 462, and your late Friday sales were very close to that also. So kind of disappointing on our box beef cutout trade. Slaughter, also very disappointing. 625,000 harvest estimated for last week. That's light. That's 7,000 lighter than the previous week. 46,000 head lighter than the same week a year ago. And now our slaughter year to date is down 4.3%. Your actual slaughter information that I didn't get to you on Thursday, but came out on Thursday for the week ending September the 9th, come out 9 pounds heavier than the previous report. We went through all that triple digit exhausting, Hades heat that we had in late August there up through early September. We went through all of that and gained pounds on your average dressed steer carcass weight. Almost makes me think that's screwed up. But gaining 9 pounds compared to the same report the previous week at 917 pounds on your average dressed steer carcass weight whenever they ship those cattle in unbearable heat. Unbelievable. Talk about what else is going on. Ever.ag agents work with multiple clients in the livestock industry to help answer questions. Navigate risk management with Ever.ag. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states. Ended the week at 251.66. That was basically steady, but 16 cents a hundred higher than the end of the previous week. Markets on your feeder cattle were basically fully steady. Maybe steady to firm in some spots. And I was talking to a feeder cattle buyer buddy of mine, and he was saying, you know, I look at these market reports, and he said they just keep calling these cattle dollars and dollars and dollars higher. He said, I know the market's good, but you think that all these feeder cattle should be bringing $5 a pound by now. I don't disagree with that. They don't have any training in your federal state market news service anymore, and people just get wild. You know, they call them $5 to $10 higher, and then call the thin cattle or the reputation strings $20 higher. Are they $20 higher than last week? So if we had more reputation and thin cattle the next week, would they be $20 more higher, and then they'd be $40 or $50 higher? I mean, come on. You know, it's simple math. You don't have to just, you know, steady to $1 or $2 higher ain't a little bit better, and 2 to 5 is a lot better, and 5 to 10 is a whole bunch better. You know, do the math. Figure them up. Go back over the weeks and see if you've lost track. You know, that we used to grade our market reporters like that when I was in the market reporting supervisory role. We would take track of their trends over the different weeks and see if they were getting off track or not. But nobody does that anymore. They don't really care about it. But your feeder cattle were basically fully steady, maybe fully steady to firm in some spots as a whole nationwide last week. Now calves, weaned calves were higher, $2 to $4 higher for sure, where they were offered in bunches where guys could put loads together. Balling calves sold on the weak side, and I've told you guys we're getting closer, and we're getting closer. And in another week we're going to be in National Dead Calf Month. That's October. That's when it's you know, in the 80s or 90s during the day, in the 30s at night. And elementary school children will get sick, so will your balling calves. And it really hurts whenever they cost $1,600, $1,800 a head. Guys, it hurts worse than usual. So those pretty calves with milk on their mustache and their hair is all shiny and pretty, they might look good in the ring, but just kind of envision what they're going to look like in about 10 days walking the fences and balling at your pens there. But and I told you before, and I'm standing by it, the premium that weaned and shot calves are going to get over the balling calves with no shots and the unworked bulls is going to be bigger this year than it's ever been before. I'll promise you it will be, because the calves are about as high as we've ever seen before. Let's talk about your individual quotes all around. Didn't really have any one sale late in the week or over the weekend to do a whole stick out sale on, but Fort Scott Livestock Market in Fort Scott, Kansas on Saturday, they had a nice sale. Several impressive quotes, including 60 head of 928-pound steers that bring $243.85. How about Bloomington, Wisconsin? Bloomington Livestock Exchange, they sell 57 steers, weight 881 at $257. A market that I love to talk about, one of our broadcast markets at DVAuction, Wahoo Livestock Sales in Wahoo, Nebraska. 63 steers, weight 879, bring $253. My buddy Justin Tupper runs St. Ange Livestock in St. Ange, South Dakota. He sold 2 loads of steers, weight, there was 136 head of them. They averaged 821 pounds, bring $260, $250. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Magnus Livestock Market in Huron, South Dakota. 52 steers, weight 482, bring $331. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.